we've been friends for a little while now, and there is no escaping the fact that 2023 has begun with a little fuckery afoot. Forgive me for that's a line from my favorite movie, The Gentleman, with Matthew McConaughey. And that there is this energy of crucial change, upheaval, and quite frankly, shock and awe. And I'm not kidding. The first couple of days of this year were like, oh, that did not really happen on the football field. Oh my God. If you're a football fan, you know what I'm talking about. And so take a deep breath. I'm here as your friend that tells the truth. That's what my name means, Siddiqi, the friend that tells the truth. And I'm here to help you discern, make better decisions, feel more trusting of your own intuition and instincts so that you can have greater levels of success in your life. Now, you too can write in your questions to Dear Siddiqi at Dear Siddiqi, that's SIDDIQI at gmail.com. Any question is fair game. We sort through the questions. I meditate on them. I bring in my intuition and I answer them from a place of connectedness to my higher source self so that you can feel in your body and experience what it's like to be told the truth from a friend. So again, Dear Siddiqi at gmail.com. If you're here, please like, please share, please join whatever channel you're seeing this on, and make sure that if there's something relevant that you pass this on to a friend. I'm here doing this, out of my heartfelt love for you as a friend. And I would love for you to subscribe to the channel so that this message can get out to more people. So let me just dive right in. I always start with like a general overview of what I'm experiencing, what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling, sorting through the questions that come through to Dear Siddiqi, and just really generally getting the vibe of it so that I can help you make better decisions. That's point blank. That's what I'm here for. Help you make better decisions from a place of trusting the universe. The universe has your back, even though there's a lot of shock and awe going on. So keep in mind that while there's all these changes happening that appear in the first few days of 2023 to be not great, they are ultimately for your good and for the good as a collective. Now, I know that when you're watching a football player die on the field, you are in shock and awe, and you're thinking, how is this of benefit to anyone? They cancel the game. And I want you to practice, my friends, practice pushing up your sleeves and realizing that the only way out of this year is through. Let me say it again. It's so important. The only way out is through. So there's no more avoiding these situations that you're in. And if you're watching this, this is a generalized reading. This is for entertainment and education purposes only, but you did land here for a reason. So please stick around. We only go for 20 minutes, and there's some really valuable insights that are general to all of us. And one of them is the only way out is through. And that this is the time to push up your sleeves and to start walking forward, people, even though there's shock and awe. I'm trying to push up my sleeves right now. So this is the time where you're like, oh my God, 2023, we're off to a really rough start. Calm down. A lot of this is about the stories that you tell yourself, the meaning that you make of things. And the practice is to roll up your sleeves and keep on keeping on, and to do it one day and one moment at a time, and not make up a story that this is the way that 2023 is going to go and we're off to a bad start and all that stuff. You must, this is your friend telling you this, you must use the discipline of your mind to get out of the stories, which are your interpretation of what's happening, and rise above it and understand that the universe is the universe, your guides, God, however you see it, that life is for you, not against you. I hope that that is helpful. So let me dive into the first of two questions I'm answering today, again, from my intuition. This is a good one. Buckle in, people, because these are some intense ones today, and they're so apropos for the beginning of the year. So the first one says, Dear Siddiqi, before COVID, my life seemed perfectly normal. I had a great job. a loving partner, a furry child, Benny. I'm thinking Benny's a dog. Who knows? Might be a cat, could be a gerbil. My life was picture perfect. Since the pandemic, none of these things seem to matter. No matter what I do or accomplish, never feels like it's enough. And I'm not very satisfied with my life or myself. It's as if everything went from it's as if everything went from technicolor to black and white. Recently, I've been asking myself, is this it? I wonder if you could help me understand the meaning of life. Oh my goodness, the meaning of life. Here we go. I know it's a big question, but I would really like your take on it. Anonymous existential crisis in Hollywood, California. Well, no wonder you're having existential crisis. You're living in Hollywood. Great question. So basically the question is, what is the meaning of life? Like, why are we here after everything that's gone on? Why me? Why now? Why here? I think this is a great question. So let me just tune in. This is a really big one. And what I'm hearing, dear ones, behind this question is, what is going on? What is going on? And I went from, high on the roller coaster. Now I'm at the bottom. I don't feel like I'm going up. I don't feel like there's anything moving. My life went from bright and colorful to bland, and all the color has been drained out. And so what is the meaning of life? I'm so glad you asked, because this is your year to make new meaning of life, meaning that it is whatever you make it. I want you to pretend for a moment that you're in the Matrix, the movie, The Matrix, and rise above what is apparent and what is in front of you. And most importantly, your interpretation of what is right in front of you. And instead go to a higher place of perspective and see that everything in your life, and always easier to do in hindsight, everything in your life has always worked out, even if in the moment it did not appear to be so. So this is my opportunity for you to do some reflection on what are the major things that have happened in your life, what's happened in relationships, in your career, with your health, with your money. And you'll see that for the most part, the meaning of life is not about accomplishment. It's not about success. It's truly about enjoying the roller coaster ride, letting go of the wheel, letting the universe drive, and making some decisions about how you want to experience this thing. Do you want to stay in shock and awe? Do you want to feel like life is happening to you, or do you want to feel like life is happening for you and with you? So what is the meaning of life? It is this huge experiment and this big experience wherein you get to decide at any given moment what direction you want to go. I'm going to get metaphysical here. This is what I call functional woo. So in the multiverse, I'm like, what are the words that you want me to use? Quantum physics. There are supposedly, this is a theory. I'm not a scientist, but I'm using the theory to illustrate a point to you. Okay, my friend. And that is that all timelines are happening simultaneously. So there is no one right way to live your life. There is no one right decision about anything. And instead of looking at what is the meaning of life, let's turn the question around and ask yourself, as a divine co-creator, what meaning do I want my life to have? What meaning do I want my life to have? It's a much more powerful question, because if you're sitting in misery, if you're sitting in suffering, there's pain, but then there's the meaning that you make of it. So what is the meaning of life? If you ask me from this divine perspective that I tap into, it's that we get to decide at every single moment. We get to make decisions because there's free will, and it's based on your belief system. And so if your belief system is that I must suffer, that these things are happening to me, it's time to turn that around. Life is not happening to you, it's happening with you and for you. So, my friend, what is the meaning of life? The big question for you in 2023 is, what is the meaning that you are going to make of your life? And how can you make it meaningful in spite of what you see going on around you? I also want to make a little side note. This is something that just keeps reverberating, and that is taking on other people's stuff. This is a little bit of a tangent. So taking on other people's stuff means I am feeling and experiencing things that are not mine. If you're watching this, this is for you. If you watch a football player almost die on the field or die on the field, and you're feeling it in your heart, my offering to you is the meaning of life is not to experience it for other people. The meaning of life is to not take on everybody else's stuff. And so what you see playing out in front of you, whether it's your kids that are struggling with addiction, I just heard that recently, whether it's your favorite sports player or sports team having a challenging time, it doesn't matter what it is, the meaning that you make of it, pull back, don't take it on, don't experience it in your body, see it as all happening out there. Did you see that movie, Minority Report? I loved that movie. So in Minority Report, they have these psychics that are in these tubes and they're seeing the future of crimes happening. And then Tom Cruise puts on these special gloves and he sees this screen and he's able to go into the timeline of the crime, blow up pieces of it, look at it from different characters' perspectives. Go watch that movie, Minority Report, and imagine that you could really do that with your life, that you could scroll through the timeline, that you could dive in and look deeper at someone else's perspective on that situation, and realize that you can look at the story from any different perspective. You can look at your life from any different perspective. Now, there's this underlying malaise, this underlying almost dread that's happening right now. Like, oh God, here we go, here we go. And if you are in that place, find one thing that you can wake up in the morning and appreciate. Is it your bamboo sheets? Is it Benny, the furry dog, or the furry pet that you have? Maybe it's a bird. I don't know. Maybe Benny's a reptile. Maybe Benny's not even furry. Oh no, you said furry. So you wake up in the morning and you start the day with appreciation and gratitude. And that is the way to make meaning of your life that's an enjoyable experience versus suffering through it. We're not meant to suffer through life as far as I can see. So, Anonymous Existential Crisis in Hollywood, California. I so hope that that was helpful for you. Right below in the comments, if you relate to these questions. By the way, if I'm looking down, it's because I'm reading the questions. I can't possibly memorize all these questions. Write in the comments, how do you relate to this? How do you relate to what's your interpretation of the meaning of life? And if you've had some loss during the past couple of years, I'm going to really encourage you. Again, I am not a professional therapist. I am not, whatever. I'm a professional consultant and I work with people on honing their intuition so that they can be more confident about the decisions they're making in their life. And sometimes we need to consult professionals because we're so clouded with grief. I'm seeing and witnessing a lot of people in grief. And the best thing that you can do is to get some help, get some support. Okay, so let me just take a sip of my magic fairy juice. Here's the next question. Dear Siddiqi, I've always been a very enthusiastic cheerleader type person, full of ambition and plans for the future. I'm a great starter of projects, fantastic at enrolling others and getting the ball rolling. But recently I've been feeling like Sisyphus. I thought it said syphilis. I've been feeling like Sisyphus, rolling the ball up the hill every day, only to have it roll back down to the bottom again. I've noticed in myself this pattern of shoulding myself all the time. I should go to the gym. I should cut back on carbohydrates. I should put in more effort at work. And then it's ugh, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Obviously, I know what I should do, but I've been massively procrastinating on starting or finishing anything. This is a good one, right? For instance, last week, I took everything out of my closet in order to weed out the clothes that I didn't want to, that I have not been wearing, in order to donate them. I threw them on my husband's side of the bed and they haven't moved since. I keep telling myself I'll get back to it when I get the new clothes hangers and plastic bags to put the clothes in. Meanwhile, my husband is sick of sleeping on the couch. How do I get over this habit of procrastination? And that is from Slow Sally in Cleveland, Ohio. Well, first of all, I think that there's two issues here, Sally. There is procrastination and there is the relationship with your husband, wherein he's willing to let your mess spread into his peace and quiet, and he's out sleeping on the sofa. So what's up with that? I would look at that first before I look at procrastinating. How is your not finishing things affecting everyone around you? Because Sally, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So you can't just procrastinate with your closet and not finish projects. You must be avoiding finishing things across the board. So what's that about? Procrastination, at the heart and soul of procrastination, is not wanting to move forward, a reluctance to move ahead, to move forward, for fear of what? Fill in the blank. Sally, my intuitive read on this is for fear of failure, and that this is a deeply seated control pattern. Although you may think that procrastination is about lack of control, lack of discipline, lack of the ability to actually move through and move forward, it's actually a control mechanism. Because when you procrastinate, you don't finish. And when you don't finish, you don't have to fail or not succeed or do it poorly. You can maintain control and say, someday I'll do it the way I see fit. I'll get the perfect coat hangers. I'll get the bags. I'll get it to the donation center. And as long as you don't do that, there is this ability to tell yourself that it could still be different. But the problem is, you yourself, by writing this, you know that you're not satisfied with the way you do this. You say that you have a lot of enthusiasm and energy. And so you start things, but you don't finish them, and it affects others. So this is actually a trust issue. Your husband isn't trusting that you have his best needs in mind because your clothes are on his side of the bed. And you're not also trusting yourself that you actually have the discipline to overcome the fear and the control and actually move forward imperfectly. So, dear Sally, I'm hoping that in Cleveland, Ohio, you can see that you are the same as everybody else around the world, which is procrastination is a control mechanism, and it's to guard you against fear, against disappointment. And even though you think the end and getting it perfect and getting it right is what you're going for, 2023 is your year to finish things imperfectly. So you have a couple of options. Put all the clothes back in the closet, give them all away, throw them all up, or put them on your side of the bed and see how that goes. Do you want to sleep on top of a pile of old energy? If you do, have at it. But Sally, don't put them on your husband's side of the bed, and start being mindfully aware of how your word, your promise, builds or destroys trust in other people. So procrastination, at the heart and soul of it, is you requesting of yourself to commit to something and following through, however imperfectly, to its completion. So Sally, I hope this helps. I know sometimes these messages can come through as harsh. They are not meant to be judgmental. They are merely reflections. I'm holding up a mirror as your friend, telling you the truth that maybe your husband isn't willing to tell you. And I say, from a loving place, do yourself, do your relationships a favor, let go of control, enjoy the journey. Don't worry about the destination, but definitely get there. Finish it. This is your year to finish these projects imperfectly that you have been putting off. Let them go, move on, or decide that you're not going to do it and go back to the people or yourself and say, you know, I committed to this. And actually, for where I am right now, it doesn't feel in alignment. So I'm going to need to change my mind and take responsibility, because procrastination is the opposite of that. All right, Sally, love you so much. And my friends that are here, I hope that this was helpful. You landed here for a reason. I'd love to hear in the comments below how this affects you, how this impacts you. If you have any of your own questions, dear Siddiqi at gmail.com. Remember, you can write them in anonymously. Nobody needs to know that you're asking these questions, and I will answer them. We will email you back on the episode that I answer your questions, so that you can go and watch that specific episode where I've answered your question. You are welcome. And once again, this is Dear Siddiqi, the friend that tells the truth using my intuition. I hope you join us again 2 days from now for another episode. And please, please, please subscribe, connect with me, join, and share this with your friends, because you never know. This message may not be for you, but you might be thinking of someone that it applies to. Great to see you here. Thanks for being my friend, and may the force be with you in 2022.